Hi, I'm Scott Johnson, and you're listening to the Podlemania Photography and Video Podcast with host Wayne Johns and Jake Hicks. Two very top blokes.
Welcome to Podlemania Podcast, your photography and video podcast, where we introduce you to some of the most amazing creatives from around the world. I'm your host, Wayne Johns, and I'm here all on my lonesome again. There's no Jake Hicks, folks. He's not here for the second episode in a row. But don't worry, he's not gone forever. Jake's just moving house at the moment. He's in the middle of moving house, so he can't be here today for this episode. So I'm going solo with this one again. But not to worry, we're still going to have the same fun, and you're still going to learn some amazing stuff with our amazing guest that's coming up. But before we get into that, what's been happening lately? Well, lockdown is lifting a bit more. Commercial work coming back slowly, which is good. And we're getting out there and just doing a bit of work. So I've just had a couple of campaigns I've just done recently, which have gone live actually before this podcast has even come out. So a couple of international campaigns and some billboard ads, which has been nice to shoot. And it's been really good. Really nice. The world is slowly getting back to normal, I think. Before we go any further, and Jake's not here for us to chat a little bit more and kind of pick on each other. And I'm still not sure if Jake's had his haircut yet, but we'll find out in the next episode maybe. But as he's not here, it's a perfect opportunity for me to let you know where you can find us and how you can support the show. So you can find us on about 35 different podcast players. Of course, the main ones are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon, all those kind of things. Or you can find us over at podlemania.com there as well. And remember, if you are a fan of the show and would like to help support the show, you can find our donate button over on our donate page, which is podlemania.com/donate, where you can either drop us a donation through PayPal or buy a coffee. Every dollar helps or pound helps to keep the lights on here at Podlemania Towers. You know, if you want to give a bit more, then we appreciate that too. We might get 2 cups of coffee. Be amazing. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about wedding photography. Hopefully sharing some tips with you to help you along a little bit, to give you some insight into the things you should be looking out for and what makes a good shot, and also a little about the business. Welcome to episode 49. And today we're talking with the fun and very witty Scott Johnson. He's a creative wedding photographer based in Chelmsford in Essex, who specialises in, as he puts it, grown-up photography with no cheese and no awkwardness, but instead concentrating on beautiful, real, natural imagery for people's weddings all across the globe. He's a photographer who's won more awards than you can shake a stick at, and also one of only 19 wedding photographers to achieve a fellowship in wedding photography with BIPP since 1901. Wow, that's an achievement in itself. I envy the guy even more now. But more than all of that, he's a damn good laugh. And if you have him shoot your wedding, he'll cruise through the day, capturing all the moments you've ever wanted, and also some of the ones you didn't realize you had. And of course, he's a fellow Fujifilm ex-ambassador like myself, so that definitely makes him a nice guy. Scott, welcome to the show.
I just realised how cheesy that sounds now. I've got to probably look at redoing the text, I think. But, well, thanks for having me, mate. It's a pleasure. No, real pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, it's a long time coming. Obviously, you know, you're scheduling all the other guests in and things, but we said it would happen. And today it is. And
today is that day.
Today is that day.
It's excited because, as I say, weddings are back. So it's nice to, you know, we spoke offline on the eve of 2 weddings this weekend. And the last time I said I had 2 weddings in a row was December 2019. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, welcome back to the real world a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
You got one tomorrow, haven't you? I mean, obviously, this podcast is going to come out after you've already shot the wedding, but yeah, you got one tomorrow. You're all primed for that one?
I have, yeah. I've got one of my best friends is getting married tomorrow. They were obviously a casualty from last year, and we're doing that tomorrow. So it's a very small wedding. Only going to be 18 people there tomorrow. And then another small one on Saturday. Obviously, at the time of recording, we only got allowed 30.
Yeah.
but we're hoping that's going to be changed from the 21st of June. So, but no, I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually really enjoying the smaller weddings.
Nice.
I'm not going to lie. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot more paced. I get a lot more time with the couple to get some nice images.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a rush.
I bet it's, in a way though, I bet it's nice, isn't it? Because, we've been a long time out, both of our sort of genres of work, a long time out. So for you to go back into a smaller wedding is a good entry point after all this time, isn't it? You feel a little bit nervous?
Yeah, you know what? The first wedding we did, obviously we lifted restrictions from 15 to 30 on the 17th of May, and I did my first 30 wedding on the 20th of May. And I'm not going to lie, there was definitely a bit of ring rust there, I would say, because it's been so long. The last wedding I shot before that was back in December, before we went into the tiers. So it was a nice learning curve, but I couldn't imagine going back into the 100 plus weddings straight away after so much time off. It's actually very nice to be eased into it through no fault of my own. But by the time we get to doing full size weddings again, I'd have shot 10 weddings with restrictions. So I'll be nice and I'll be match fit by then for sure.
Match fit. I like it. Match fit, back into it. Jeez, man. Well, it's nice to be out there. It's, I was so long out, almost had to read the user manual again on the camera. So let's get to that stage. It's crazy times. Okay, mate. Well, let's dive into this. So let's throw the first question to you, as we do with all our guests. So for our audience, how would you describe yourself and what you do?
Bit of an idiot. No, I think obviously we've met on the feature film scene at various events, and I don't take life very seriously. I like to have a laugh and a joke. I like to be. I guess I just like to have fun, and I transition that into my wedding shoots, and I like to have fun. And if the couple are having fun, they look better in the pictures because they're enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life. I just, obviously we do a very serious job, and when we're at the stand at TPS or wherever at WPPI, and we're representing Fujifilm or one of our brands, we have to make sure that we're playing the game. But the minute we're off, the stage, then it's
Jokerville.
Gloves are off. Yeah. I think a bit of a joker, a bit of a prankster, bit of a laugh, but also trustworthy, reliable, and get the job done.
Yeah. Nice one. Nice. Well, I guess we're lucky in what we shoot as well, because where we work with people, you can almost have a laugh quite a lot of the time. Sometimes.
I actually said the first wedding back on the 20th of May, I said to the couple, look, I've got 5 months of banter stored up in me, so just brace yourself because it's just going to burst like a balloon.
Oh, they got another shot coming tomorrow then, haven't you? Still all that pent-up energy waiting to burst through the lens.
It's one of my best mates. I've known him since I was 3. So he's going to get both barrels of my banter tomorrow. So, I just can't wait. It's just nice. Yeah. It's nice to feel like I mean something again, like yourself. We've had so much time off. It's nice to get your suit on, get your batteries on charge, make sure the lenses are clean, memory cards are clear. Yeah. It's nice to have that bit of routine back in our lives, I think.
Yeah, it's a magic word, isn't it? Routine. And you got good, and by the looks of it, you got good weather for it as well. Prime.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. We should be okay tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be hot and humid. As a little wedding trick that I do to keep fresh on a wedding day when it's hot and humid, but maybe we'll go into that later. Maybe we won't.
Well, you'll have to drop that in, or else I'll forget to ask it. But I don't even know what that is. It's going to be ice packs in your underpants, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
Well, it's actually bringing fresh underpants to change into halfway through the wedding to keep nice and fresh. It's nothing worse than Yeah, so if you see me at a wedding, I'm not there for 5 minutes after the speeches.
You know where you are. Well, no, folks. There's a trick. There's one thing you need to pack in your camera bags you never thought you'd ever bloody need.
It's a trick from cruise ships, because when we used to work in like Panama and Central America, it was so hot and we were really struggling because of the temperature, and you're up on deck the whole time. And a friend of mine he might listen, he might not, and he said to me, "Go downstairs and change your pants." I'm like, "What?" He went, "Trust me, you'll feel $1 million. You can go another 4 hours." So I did it. I'm like, this is genius. And I've done it every summer. I take a spare pair and I'll get changed halfway through.
Amazing. So actually, that's going to roll into the first question nicely. So let's dive into that. I mean, you cut your teeth, so to speak, working as a photographer on a cruise ship at the tender age of 22?
22. Yeah, 22. I joined. I was greener than green around the ears. I was the very definition of greenhorn, I think. When it dove in with both feet and my eyes shut, not knowing what to expect, and it was the best time ever.
So were you a photographer before that, or did you dive into on the cruise ships as a trainee photographer?
I was dabbling.
Okay.
So I was working for a professional photographic lab. So I was printing the pictures from professional photographers back in the old film days.
Getcha.
So I was badgering people to go out and become a second shooter, or just I wanted to be involved. And then there was a chap that worked for us that had just finished his last contract, and he told us about all these stories about what he got up to. And I was like, I think I quite fancy some of that at 22. And away I went. And I went in as a trainee. Went in as a trainee. And then came off as a fully fledged photographer. That was what we called photogs. And that's a bit of a term of contention with some people, but that's what it was. And I learned very quickly how to react, be around people, gain confidence in myself, to approach people. I was very shy, believe it or not. I was a very shy 22-year-old.
I can't imagine that ever. I can't imagine that ever at all. And if any of you have met Scott, you'll be thinking the same I am as well.
I was painfully shy.
Okay.
But if you didn't take pictures, because we were 100% commission based, you didn't get paid.
Oh, yeah, true.
So,
so
we had to learn. I had to learn to come out, break that comfort zone. And it was the best thing I ever did. And there's still things today that I do at weddings that I picked up on the ships, because that's how you make the money.
Wow.
And it was the best learning curve I've ever had in life.
Okay, so there you go. If people are wanting to look to getting into weddings or people photography, and you're not so skilled at the moment, and you think the industry is looking tough, because it is, then if there's a job opportunity on a cruise ship, maybe go and experience a bit of life and enjoyment at the same time, as well as all the hard work that goes with it, though. Yeah,
lots of hard work. It's an awful lot of partying as well. I'm not going to lie. It's but it is graft. It's proper graft. And again, I shoot a lot of weddings. People say I'm mad doing the amount of weddings that I do, but because I learned this industry at a pace that is very busy.
Very fast. Yeah.
I'm used to it.
Yeah,
I'm just used to it. I mean, I will personally shoot 50 weddings a year, which is nuts when you think about it. But it's a pace that I'm used to, and I've done it since day one. Yeah. I used to, the worst year, I did 113 in 1 year. That was just madness. Yeah, that was madness.
I've never shot a wedding in my life, and I don't ever fancy it. Now, I know the people out there that maybe think I'm mad, and maybe I am. Yeah, just not my cup of tea.
But I think there's certain genres I couldn't shoot newborns. I couldn't shoot, like Ellie Cassidy, another ambassador for Fujifilm, is the most amazing newborn photographer.
She is, very
I
much
just have absolutely no interest in it. I haven't got the patience for it, and it is a certain type of person that can do that, and that's a skill set that I just unfortunately have not been blessed with.
Yeah,
but Ellie is incredible at it.
Yeah,
but could Ellie come and shoot a wedding? Probably. Yeah, but does she want to? Probably not.
yeah. Could I? Yeah, maybe. Do I want to? Not really. No, I've been asked to do it before, and I've turned it down. So it's like,
I'll do it. Send it to me.
I mean, before you were on board, I even passed a couple of people in the direction of Kev Mullins a few years ago. So I don't know if you ever got them booked or not, but that's how much I didn't want to do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not my cup of tea. So for you, after you finished the cruise ships, then you started your own business. You went straight into your own business when you left. Yeah.
Well, no, I did about 18 months of working for somebody else. I went to work for Essex. I think that's also a rite of passage. I was working for, ironically, on the Fujifilm Frontier machines. That's what we had on ships. That's what I was printing on when I was at Essex. And it was there. A second photographer from someone that I knew at the Pro Lab had set his own company up. He heard that I was back. He came in and said, leave here, come and work for me. So I did.
Right.
And after about a year, I was getting booked out more than what he was. Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought, well, maybe I can do this. And this was back in late 2005. I had a winter at Jessups.
Okay.
And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'll give it a go. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Here you are. So, I mean, on a cruise ship, so you're photographing, people and portraits and people having a good time and capturing fun moments and all the fun times, all their experiences they're going through while they're on their holidays or their cruise. So when you come out of that, why weddings? Why have you gone into weddings then? What drew you?
I think it was the social side. I think it was just being social. I think it was, I'm a people person. Obviously, again, I said I was painfully shy, but after about 3 months, I realized how much I enjoyed just talking to people that I'd never met before and finding about them. And weddings is a lot about that. Pre-COVID, 80 to 120 people was an average size wedding here in Essex.
Yeah.
And I've generally have made friends for life doing this job because you get to chat with people and they might have been a guest at a wedding that I've shot and you just keep in touch. And I think it's a really good way of opening your eyes to a lot of the world that we don't often see.
And
it's something that I just like chatting with people, mate. I think, again, if you see me at an event, I talk to everyone.
Yeah.
I just love it.
And the thing is with weddings, it's one of those places where you can chat to people, just complete strangers who are actually getting arrested as well, isn't it? It's one of those
exactly. Yeah.
Go in the street.
No, and it's always and the in is always, so you're Nick or not Cannon? I'm like, well, actually, I'm neither. And and that starts a conversation off, and away we go.
Funny. We got a question coming up about that later on, actually. So how would you describe your style? Do you have a style, would you say, in wedding photography? Is that harder to have?
Well, again, you mentioned it at the start. I've got a fellowship in wedding photography from the British Institute of Professional Photography, and the definition of a fellowship is a distinct style. Okay. So anyone can look at my images and say, Scott took those. So the answer to that is yes, I have a distinct style. To summarize it, I would say it's more of like a classic, elegant style to wedding photography. Okay. So someone like Kev Mullins that you mentioned, he's purely documentary. Yeah. He'll photograph the most amazing pictures that I can't do that.
Flying storytelling,
Yeah. I would much rather spend 5 minutes with a couple and place him in beautiful light, pose him in a way that they're going to look more refined.
Yep.
Because they've spent £400 on their hair, £300 on their makeup. They've spent $2,000 on a wedding dress. They've spent $25,000 on a venue. I'm going to make them look amazing in the venue they've picked for their wedding day. And that's the kind of stuff that I do.
Yeah. Nice way to put it, actually. Nice way to put it. Yeah. It's hard to almost define the word style, isn't it? When you look at some things that people shoot, but no, good way to put it. And obviously, Kev is a perfect example as a juxtaposition, if you want to call it that.
Complete. I would say. I mean, him and even like Dom and Liam at York Place, the complete opposite to how I shoot. I've tried to shoot the documentary style, and I'm just not good at it. So I just don't do it.
Yeah, it's a knack, isn't it? There's a whole learning curve in itself. So it just goes to show, folks, just because you can shoot one thing like a wedding, it doesn't mean you shoot all styles of that wedding. No. It's a completely different skill set.
I'm always trying to work on my weakest game, and that is my weakest game at the minute. Documentary.
Yeah. Are you going to try and do some, introduce some, or just stick to what you're good at and carry on creating the best of what you do?
I'm going to try again. What the blessing of the 30-person wedding is? I've had time. I've got what I need to achieve from my style, and it's given me time to put a 23mm lens on and blend in and do the more natural stuff. Nice. So I'm actually learning on the job now to try and improve that side of my repertoire. So COVID has given me a really good opportunity to address my shortcomings in my business and my photography style and improve both.
Kind of takes me back to the intro, really, doesn't it? So, enables you to also give them the shots they didn't realize they had.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does someone make a successful business as a wedding photographer then? I mean, what are the important things that they should be thinking about and also doing, apart from shooting drop dead gorgeous images, of course? It's
getting in to this industry is very easy, but staying in it is very difficult. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will come and think, you know what I'll do? I'll become a photographer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a year down the line, they've got no bookings because they've gone about it the wrong way. I think for me, getting in with venues, getting in with other suppliers, and then bouncing off their marketing and you cross-market is the best way to get ahead, because the first port of call in any wedding is generally the venue.
Yeah.
So if you can get in with wedding venues, and they'll say, here's our list of preferred suppliers.
Yeah.
And then you're on that list, they're doing the marketing for you, and don't go into any venue with an ego. I'm the photographer. This is my show.
Yeah.
You're photographing 80 guests. There could be 80 potential brides there as well. So just turn up, do a good job. Don't be an arse.
Yep.
And just be humble and gracious to be there. And because, fortune favors the brave.
Yep.
And just be nice to people, because they'll want to work with you again.
It's their day, isn't it?
Yeah. If you're tagging them in Instagram and blog posts, that is the best way at the minute to get ahead in this industry.
So first thing, leave your ego at the door.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if you're new to the industry, because one, you don't have any weddings under your belt, or if you do, it's only friends and family, and you've not got a lot of content to show anyway. But I think, from what you've just said there, and this word keeps popping out, is marketing. Mm-hmm. Making contacts and marketing, with the venues, and they'll be marketing you because you'll be on their preferred list of suppliers and stuff like that. So marketing is hugely important, as it is for all our business, but it's very important for yours as well, of getting out there in the forefront, making all those contacts initially.
And as Kevin Neal say on their podcast, don't forget the social in social. Don't just post stuff about how good you are. Interact with people as well.
Yeah.
Just use Instagram. I hate Facebook with a passion.
Yeah, me too. I hate
Facebook business is
or dead book as we call it.
Death.
Dead book.
Yeah. But Instagram, I think Reels, stories, IGTV. If you are shooting video, Instagram TV and Reels is probably the most powerful part of Instagram at the minute.
Yep.
So make the most of that by far.
Yeah.
And it's definitely it's a lot to do. Editing video. I videoed all of my wedding albums during the last lockdown because I was on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I was holding my books up on a Zoom call.
Okay.
And you can't show how nice so I used the XT3s and I videoed my albums and I put videos together and they're on my Instagram. So people have got minute and a half videos. And if people are engaging for 3 or 4 minutes, it shows Instagram that what you've got is good content.
Yeah, it's engagement.
And it's
engagement's king. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. A nice way of doing it. I can just imagine people listening to this with a notepad and pen now, writing all these top tips down. Yeah,
that's good. What we're here for, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. That's what we're all about. And to have a laugh along the way, of course, which I know
absolutely
we're going to have. Now, here's a misconception, I think, before I even ask the question. So do you think a wedding photographer needs a lot of kit?
No. If you go, I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, I did some filming for one of my other suppliers and they bought a Vito van full of equipment. They bought RE cameras and everything you can possibly imagine. And we did a shoot with that. And they said, "Oh, you're going to bring your stuff?" I went, "Yeah, that's it down there." And it was one Billingham 335 bag. And it was that was it. That's all I need. It's very focused on marketing and then your business before you buy equipment. Obviously, you have to buy equipment to be a photographer.
Yeah,
but don't buy everything new. You don't need it.
Don't buy everything new. And if you're at the early stages of your career, you don't need to go out and buy the most expensive, the biggest and best because you're not good enough to take advantage of it yet. So cameras are so good nowadays. You can pick up some amazing secondhand bargains.
I mean, I just bought the GFX 100S during lockdown because I had the 50S.
Yeah.
And when we knew it was coming, I'm like, that's the one I'm going to get because the 50S was amazing, but I just wanted the big one basically. And it wasn't because it was new and I wanted it. It came out at the right time in my business and opening up a wedding to say, right, we'll take advantage of this and we'll get one.
Yeah.
But if I didn't need it, I wouldn't have bought it. The 50S is perfectly good enough.
I can already hear listeners ringing in my ears, even though it's not gone out yet, going, who needs 100 megapixels at a wedding? You know what I mean?
Honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it's not just about the megapixels. It's about everything else the camera's got in dynamic range.
Speed of focus.
In a medium format file as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
It's incredible.
Okay, so on that one then, what's your basic kit, your basic wedding kit consist of?
So I take 2 XT3s out. One is a backup and the other one sits on my left side. And that generally all day has the Fujifilm XF 8-16 2.8. That is like I have that on at all times because I just love ultra wide. If you see my website or Instagram, I like to include a lot of the landscape and scenery in my images.
Yeah.
And on the right hand side, I have my GFX.
Yeah.
And I shoot solely prime lenses. I've got the 3 lenses. I've got the 45, 63 and the 110. That's all I have.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I take to a wedding.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Obviously spare batteries and cards. I have a Lacey a portable hard drive with an SD card slot in, so I back up on the day.
Okay, nice.
If I don't take my laptop with me.
Yep.
And that's it, honestly, mate. And I've just bought off-camera flash. I bought some Godox equipment, and that's it.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, and that's the next question in there. Do you shoot only available light, or do you shoot flash as well, or do you mix both?
Well, up until 3 weeks ago, it was all available light.
Really?
But now I am. Honestly, I don't put a flash gun on unless I'm on the dance floor.
Yeah.
I put the 8-16 on and get in on the dance floor to get the dancing shots. But everything that you've seen on my website, Instagram, is all available light.
Nice. See, folks. Even I wasn't aware of that. So I thought you were using some fill flash of some sorts in some instances.
No, and it goes back to how good the files are off the camera. You can pull a lot of shadow detail out now, so you don't need the flash gun unless you're shooting sunsets and trying to overpower the sun. Then of course you're going to use off-camera flash.
Yeah.
But no, I'm perfectly fine with what is up in the sky.
Nice.
Big softbox.
I like it. But now you've got some portable flash, some battery flash, some smaller units to take with you to start popping bits in there to overpower backgrounds.
Yeah, and it's
different dynamics.
Yeah, going back to the previous comment, it was a weak part of my game. Off-camera flash was something I've never tried. I respect those that can do it and do it well. I tried it, didn't get on with it, so stopped using it. But during lockdown and time off, I thought, I'm going to have a proper go at this now. So I won't change my style, but the flash units are in the back of the van.
Yeah.
If I want to use it and get creative, then I will. It's always working on the weakest part of my business, and that was definitely a weaker part of the business.
Get you. Well, nice that you're getting in there. Yeah, we had a chat about that off air about some bits and pieces, so which we can talk about again. Okay, so what problems can a wedding photographer face? Now, I mean, when I say problems, I mean shooting challenges, shooting problems. What sort of things do you come across which can be quite problematic for you on a shoot day?
Obviously, weather can play a massive part in it. You can plan a wedding in August and you think it's going to be lovely, but it's absolutely hooping down with rain.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that we face is it's actually the dress. It's brides really want to keep the dress as immaculate as possible. And we have to kind of, without being patronising, educate them to say, look, the minute you step outside, that dress is going to get dirty.
Yeah.
And the sooner you get that in your head, again, not being nasty, the sooner you can realise that, the sooner you're going to enjoy it, because I've seen it a million times where the dress gets dirty and the bride's mood will just change instantly.
Right, yeah.
And it's about managing that expectation to say your dress will get dirty today.
Yeah.
It's how are you going to handle that? And once you can get around that, the shoot goes fine. We've had drunk people at weddings. We've had all the typical stories that you hear that can be a challenge on the wedding day.
Yeah.
But I would say weather is definitely the one where a bride has set her heart on an outdoor ceremony in July.
Yeah.
And it's grey and windy, and the registrar goes, "No, we're going to go inside." And then it's just so frustrating and disappointing. But there's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Nothing. And
roll with the punches. Just roll with the punches.
You got to learn to adapt, haven't you, on the spot?
Yes.
You've got your plan in mind already, but if that's not panning out, then you've got to shift up the gears a little bit quite quickly with no hesitation, really, haven't you? Yeah.
I always say to my couples when they come in and see me up here, I have a start point, and I have an end point. How I get to that end point, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but we will get there. I might go straight, I might go up and down and left and right. We have to just take what we are given on the wedding day and use that to our advantage at all times.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Anything else kit-wise? I mean, do you suffer any challenges kit-wise with venues and things like that? Or have you got some venues indoors, like really low light and stuff like that, and you look at it?
Obviously I do actually, added to that list, I do have a couple of LED panels that I will put up in a particularly dark venue because I don't want to be, forgive the pun, flashing away during a service. So I will put up some consistent rotor lights just because, one, it helps me achieve a decent exposure without pushing the ISO too high. I mean, the ISOs, on Fujifilm can go high and cope really, really well.
Yeah.
But also what it does, it gives the registrars who may be hard to read what they're trying to say, gives them a little bit of light as well. So you're doing them a favour and again, get the registrars on side.
Yeah.
That's half the battle.
It is half the battle.
So lower light, I will throw a couple of LEDs up, but not a lot, just a little field light just to give me a bit of a fighting chance.
Nice. Now, I guess you get to know sort of the emotional roller coaster of a wedding for both brides and groom and guests, if you want to put it like that. Do you try and plan for that within your day? And by that, I mean, do you see those a kind of a here we go moment? Here's my ultimate opportunity to catch this bit of emotion because we're this stage through the wedding and that's when everybody gets emotional and tearful or happy or sad. And did you have those moments? Or, some of you might know throughout a wedding where some of them are going to be really fun shots or tear jerkers. Is that a regular thing you plan for within your shooting day?
Yeah, so we always
people love.
Yeah, I'll always do a pre-wedding consultation. Once they've had the final meeting with the venue, which is generally 2 or 3 months before the wedding, we'll then touch base with the couple because it may be 2 or 3 years since they've booked, especially this year. We're doing people that booked in 2019. And it's at that point we find out, people may have passed away. And so we find out if, and it's a point where, someone, especially recently, where a mum or a dad might have passed.
Yeah.
And we always know that's going to trigger emotion on the wedding day.
Yep.
And it's how we deal with it. People, you can go full out when, especially during the speeches and obviously dad would have loved to have been here and that's a trigger and people are going to go.
Yeah.
But there's a very, very fine line of documenting that and then exploiting people's grief.
Yeah.
So you have to know when to, okay, that's enough pictures now. No one wants to see themselves sobbing, but a couple of emotional shots with bride hugging mum when they mention dad.
Yeah.
That is gold for us. But we get what we need to get done, and then we step back and be respectful of what's being said. So
nice
it's just about knowing where we are with that. But also we do a lot of first looks.
Yep.
So we might do a shot where they see each other before they walk down the aisle, and that is great.
Yeah.
It's great. Especially we do a lot of, in Essex, we do a lot of weddings from people on base at Mildenhall.
Oh, okay.
So we do a lot of American grooms or brides, and that is a very popular thing in the States, doing a first look. And if you are an American listening to this, I'm really, really sorry, but you are generally really emotional on wedding day. The American guys are always crying, and it's great. So we can plan for that as well.
That's my next question following this is, have you had weddings where the groom is just an utter wreck when the bride's coming down the aisle, and he just can't hold anything back or contain himself?
We did a wedding years ago. I can remember it like it was yesterday. It's a place called Hawley Park. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. And the groom was brilliant all day.
Yeah.
The minute the music started, he went. He turned round to see her walking up the aisle. He turned back and his shoulders were going. He was sobbing. And he's doing his vows, and he was like, "I take you to be there." And I'm like, "Mate, what's going on?" And it was, and all the guys were going, "I've never seen this side of him before." And obviously, the best man, I could see him sitting there with his pen. He was adjusting his speech, and he was ruined not ruined, but the rest of the day. It was like, "Mate, you're right. You can start crying," and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Oh mate, I bet you can't stop shooting that series. I bet that's just absolute gold, isn't it? Absolute gold.
It's just brilliant. I mean, it's lovely. I mean, I make a joke of it in our meetings. I said, all I want is a single tear rolling down your cheek as you walk up the aisle. That would be perfect. But this took it to the next level, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, but a single tear down the cheek. Generally you're speaking about the bride, but not the groom.
Not the groom.
Three pints of water by the time you get to the end of it.
What do you think this is old for? He's dehydrated when he signed the register. He lost about a pint of water.
Oh, for anybody who's getting married, I feel for all the grooms and that out there that are perhaps going to be at that stage, who are now listening to this going, I'd never be like that. Let us know on the day.
It's always the big guys, the big tough builders or the police officers that have a really tough job that say, that's not me, mate. They're the first ones to go, trust me.
Oh, well, I think that's a perfect segue to the middle of the show, where we're going to dive into our rapid fire, not so rapid fire round. Awesome. And for our listeners, if you're not sure what that is, this is where we bombard 10 rapid fire questions at our guest. It may be a little bit related to photography, or it may be completely unrelated. So you could learn something, you could learn a lot, or you could learn absolutely nothing at all. Are you ready for this, Scott?
I'm preparing myself for the 10 questions. Let me warm up. I'm ready.
You can't see this, folks, but he's doing a bit of an arm workout there just to limber up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Now, we know why it's called the rapid fire, not so rapid fire round, so we'll see how this one pans out. Okay, here we go. What's the best location you've shot a wedding at?
The Amalfi Coast in Italy.
Ooh, nice.
Beautiful. Just stunning. Absolutely didn't know what to expect.
Yep.
Arrived there, I'm like, holy crap, how have I pulled this one off? If you've not been, go. Once you can get there, it is the most beautiful part of Italy I've ever been to.
Were you there quite a few days as well?
I was there 4 days. So I flew in on like the Saturday. We did the recce of the place on the Sunday. They got married on Monday. I flew home Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Beautiful.
Beautiful weather all the way through.
It started off a bit grey,
and
I'm like, I've come all this way, and then it just cleared in the afternoon, and it was just me and the bride and groom. That was just the three of us. It was incredible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they drove from Essex.
Okay,
they had a 3-week honeymoon.
Here. Okay,
yeah, and they drove through France and northern Italy and down to Naples. Got married, then drove back through Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. It was incredible. So just the three of us.
Wow, that is a small wedding.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Crap. Wow, 4 days worth of that. That's gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. Okay, what do you do on the weekends when you're not shooting?
I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
So
bit of fitness, bit of activity?
Yeah, generally down the gym. getting fit. I spend time with the family, obviously, because as social photographers, well, our weekends are generally quite tied up.
Yeah.
But when I don't have a wedding, we're generally planning to go out somewhere or after we've been at the gym. But I've got to keep fit mentally and physically during this.
Got to keep fit. How's that been going, doing solo versions of that over the past year?
Interesting. Very interesting. You know, a lot of rolling about on the trampoline and break falling. But no, it's been good, mate. It's been good.
My daughter's trampoline is too small for that. But I do know, I used to train myself. I used to train in Jeet Kune Do and Wing Chun. So, yeah.
Very nice.
A long time ago. Okay, you're on a desert island. What music are you taking with you?
Oh, you know what? As an expression that good music's good music, right? I listen to everything. If I had to take one album with me, it would probably be Appetite of Destruction, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Something a bit lively, bit heavy.
Bit lively.
Yeah.
Get the pace up a little bit. Yeah. It is the perfect, I think it's the perfect album. It is, 10 tracks, 46 minutes. It is brilliant. Can you imagine how good it would have been if they were sober as well?
True. True. Fact.
Or is it better because of the drugs? Who knows?
I think it's probably better because of the drugs and the booze, to be fair, on their account. How many Scotch eggs can you fit in your pockets?
Oh my God. I don't know, 3 or 4 in each pocket, I suppose, on the trousers. There's a story.
Interesting.
I split trousers at a wedding once.
You what?
I put Tim. So back in my old DSLR days, I didn't have a lens pouch. I put everything in my pockets. And I got into the back of a limousine on a wedding and I slipped. And because I had so much in my pockets, my trousers split at the hem from my butt crack all the way around the front of the bottom zip. I'm like, well, now what?
No way.
So the answer to your question is I don't put anything in my pockets anymore on a wedding day.
Yeah, definitely not round Scotch eggs. You don't want them bulging out your pockets, do you?
No.
I do love this round. Have you ever dropped and broken a camera during a wedding?
Yes. My first, again, back in my DSLR days, I use a holdfast money maker for to carry my cameras.
Right.
And I hadn't had it long, and I put it on, and the belt at the back wasn't done up
is
properly.
That a harness?
A harness,
Okay,
a leather harness. So I had the camera, and I let it go, thinking the weight of the camera would take it, and it just unraveled, and it went donk, and I smashed my 85 1.4.
Ouch.
And it was during the wedding reception. Everyone kind of went, ooh, because everyone saw it.
Oh, no.
There's me with my face and going, no, it's fine. Me going, oh my God, I've broken my lens.
Did you break the camera or just the lens?
No, just the lens, thankfully. Okay. No, it hit the corner of the lens and smashed the front element, and the camera was fine, thankfully.
Yeah, relief. Wow. Harness, that's what you talk about. Yeah, I had to make sure there. And for anyone listening, that's bondage for photographers. How many times have guests at a wedding turned up with bigger cameras than you have?
Oh, not as many as you think, but there's definitely, it's been a couple of times where I've been shooting speeches like now of my Fujifilm with my 90mm f2, and the guest has pulled out his Canon 5D Mark V with a 300 2.8. I'm going, what are you doing? You're not at the races. What are you doing?
I love those.
Are you shooting sports? It's a wedding.
I love those kind of people. And you always, I'm sorry if you're guests at a wedding and you're one of those that listen to this podcast and you're putting out a huge camera with a huge lens at a wedding that's more than the main photographer's got. It's you're one of those people. I'm sorry in advance.
I just remembered actually there was a father of the bride once, and he had a Nikon 1DX. That was the first press camera Nikon bought out.
Yeah.
And it was like 20 frames a second. And he was like my freaking shadow all day. So I was setting stuff up. I was going, shot, change, shot. He was like, brrr, 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 the whole way. I'm like, oh. So, yeah. It was just,
it just amazed me. I remember one guy leading everyone my fashion workshops once, fashion demos. He wasn't even, one of the attendees. He was just a passerby. The model wasn't even moving, yet I could hear him on rapid fire. He must have shot about 200 to 300 shots, and the model hadn't even moved one position. I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
It's crazy, right?
I think I commented about it afterwards, but crazy.
I'd rather shoot like a sniper than someone with a Gatling gun.
Yeah, that's it. How quick can you neck a bottle of beer?
Oh, a bottle of beer. Probably now pint. I can do it in about 5 or 6 seconds. But a bottle of beer, because you've got the volume and the glass, probably a little bit long, maybe 10 seconds a bottle of beer.
Shotgun it, it'd be even quicker. You go.
Yeah. Actually, that's where you put the straw in, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, next TPS, let's find out.
Okay. And if you want to see that, folks, join us at TPS and we'll be at the bar. And who knows, we may video that and put that back up as a follow-up of Scott's challenge of how quick can you neck a bottle of beer shotgun style. Are you any good at karaoke?
Yes, I am. Well, the answer is no, but I love karaoke. I love it.
Say that.
Yeah, I love it. We do something at WPPI in Las Vegas every year, and a guy called Gary Hughes, a good friend of mine in Florida, and we call it karaoke, and we go to the same. We go to the same karaoke bar every year.
Yeah,
we book it out for 3 hours, and the one rule we have is no social media and no phone, so you can go in there and nothing goes online. It's a safe space, and we sing for 3 hours. And then the next day we're judging or speaking. It's like, I scored that print 94 because you've got no voice left. I'm not very good at it, but I love it.
Yeah, that's the answer. Are you good at karaoke? Yes, but no, but yes. Question number 9, barbecue or restaurant?
Barbecue.
Oh, straight in there. Bam. No hesitation.
Barbecue. Yeah.
Right. Final question. You're camping in the woods and a curious bear comes past, but you've only got a wooden spoon. What do you do?
What do I do with a wooden spoon? I don't know. What would you do with a wooden spoon with a bear? I don't throw it at the bear. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't think there's an answer for it, but
I'm going to throw it at the bear. Cover it in honey and throw it at the bear and hope it's Winnie the Pooh and then just walk off.
Oh, so remember, folks, if you're going camping, you got wooden spoon, take a jar of honey with you as well, just in case. Oh, brilliant. Well, Scott, you'll be pleased to know that's the end of your 10 questions in our rapid fire, not so rapid fire round.
Amazing. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
And to all our listeners, I hope you learned something. And for those of you who learned nothing, I hope you enjoyed it anyway, because we did. Oh,
it's the best podcast ever.
He says, wiping the tears from his eyes. Okay, right, back into it. Let's get into part 2. He says, can't get a straight face now. Do you have any go-to techniques that you use to help you capture the guaranteed good shot?
So I use something called mirroring, which is very, very simple. So again, a lot of the images that I'm taking, I'm probably 50 or 85 mil because I love the compression with the lenses that you get, especially on the GFX.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult sometimes to try and translate what you want them to, how to stand and how to look. So I just say in my pre-wedding meetings, I'll just say mirror me and I'll act out the pose. And then that way they can do the same as what I'm doing. Nice. Mirroring is a very underrated tool. And obviously I look stupid when I do it, but if it means that they look great, then brilliant.
But only use that technique, folks, if you're actually good at doing the poses yourself. Because if you're standing there looking like the funky chicken, that's definitely not what you want in the wedding photos when you're bride.
I must be in 1,000 pictures of guests of me looking like an absolute tool at weddings, trying to do a pose with my veils hanging out or something like that.
Yeah, it's just... I've had the same where I'm giving in my fashion workshops, and then I'm asking the model to move. And I say to the attendees, if your model can't understand what you're doing, then just show her, and then obviously, or him, and then they can follow you. And then you see me doing some really extended moves that I want to accentuate shape and form. And I've seen myself that somebody else captured on video. And man, do I look like an ass doing it. It looks so wrong. Definitely how not to do it. That's I don't do it so much anymore. Funny that, isn't it? Now, of course, we all know after you finish a shoot, your work as a photographer isn't over then, is it? You've got to edit and you've got to retouch, and obviously you've got to get the clients back for previews and everything else. So what's your process here? How do you work once you finish a shoot?
So we finish the shoot, we get back and back up. We take backups on the wedding day when we're at the venue, but then we'll come back and back up again on the hard drives that we have here, and then we don't start the wedding edit. I don't like to go straight into it. I like to have a couple of days where I can forget about the wedding, because if you edit straight away, you're still in the moment, and whereas you'll forget about certain things, and when you see them back in Lightroom, I edit on Lightroom.
Yep, you're a Lightroom guy. Yep.
And I kind of go through there, and I will cull and edit. I have a couple of presets that I use, but we always try and turn the images around in a couple of weeks. Our goal is to always try and do it when the couple come back from honeymoon. So 2 to 3 week turnaround is when we deliver the files.
Okay, 2 to 3 weeks. And as a Lightroom user, how much editing do you do? And now, here's a question before we get into that. Actually, you kind of shoot more JPEG than RAWs, don't you, as a wedding shooter?
Yes,
with the Fujifilm systems.
Fujifilm system has been a revelation for the way I shoot. I was shooting RAW in my DSLR days, but now because of the EVF, I can shoot cleaner and I can see the histogram in the viewfinder, so I'm more confident shooting JPEG. Yeah, and everything you'll see, the vast majority. The last since 2016, since I went back to Fujifilm, has been JPEG.
Wow. Yeah, see, I know how good the files are out of those things, but in my commercial world, I can't afford to obviously shoot.
I put the debate on a forum this week and said, "Are you shooting JPEG or RAW?" Surely, and I appreciate for high end fashion, you have to shoot RAW. But the biggest I ever go to on a wedding album is A3. So you're talking when you open up double page spread, you're talking 40 inches. And a JPEG off a GFX is more than enough for that.
Well, I've seen JPEGs off XT out of those things at that size, and they're still amazing. So yeah.
If I'm shooting commercial, if I'm shooting, I did a job for London Dungeons a couple of years ago. I did the lifestyle portraits in there, and of course I shot RAW. in there. But for weddings, JPEG is more than enough.
Fair play. And do you have a favourite film simulation mode that you use in the X series?
I do. I actually shoot a lot of mine on the Astia Soft.
Oh yeah. I used to shoot the Astia in the film days. Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, soft tones, nice soft tones.
But on the GFX 100S, you've now got the classic neg. and that is
classic
beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is, hopefully, if you're listening to Fujifilm Japan, can you bring that across to the XT3 and 4? That would be amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the classic neg is nice. Yeah, I got to give you that. So okay, so if you're shooting JPEG, then when you put them into Lightroom, how much tweaking do you do then?
Not a lot. I've got a couple of presets that I use. I like the look of Fujifilm. Again, back in my film days, I shot Fujifilm 400H. So I've got a couple of presets that will replicate that goes on top of the JPEG file. Yeah. And I'll just tweak, and it's just mainly to make sure we've got highlights in, shadows, general exposure, just to make it look print ready. Yeah. So, but then when the images come back in for the wedding album, I'll do another little tweak to make sure they're looking perfect for the
nice. Book. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you got like a couple of little presets you put over the top. Now, I'm guessing if you're shooting like the 400H, it means you're probably adding a bit of noise, then a bit of grain.
Yes, a little bit. But I take it down a touch because I don't want too much grain. I want a little bit, but not too much.
To give it a bit of 75% on it. It's weird, isn't it? Because I had this conversation the other day about digital cameras, how I think they're too sharp nowadays. And the organic film shots are much more pleasing on the eye.
Yes.
And how do we do that as pro photographers? We just add noise now to give that noise. To give that sort of,
I use if you're listening, I use masking presets. They're amazing.
Oh, okay.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't use anything like that, but interesting. Okay, so that's your process, and then anything that needs to be done after that, you quickly whip into Photoshop and
again, because on the wedding day, I'll typically shoot maybe 1,000 images on a wedding day, and then I'll cull that down and edit down to about 450, 500. Yeah. But even that's still an awful lot of images.
That's a lot, yeah.
We will do what's called a pre-design on the wedding album. So then I'll design the first draft of the wedding album, and so the ones that go into the book, they will get a further retouch and will remove things like fire escape signs where they're sticking out of someone's head. There's not much point doing it on all the pictures because they're not going to pick all the pictures. Yeah. So we just do it on the album ready images, and that's what we do. It helps speed up the process.
Yeah, get you. Yeah, it's a lot of images, isn't it? Really, you say a lot. I did a campaign recently where I shot. If you add it all together, I was shooting for about 30 minutes, and I shot about 330 images in 30 minutes.
Wow, that's a lot.
Because I only had, the thing is, when for our listeners, if you're shooting sort of, celebrities or anybody with any famous inkling in the media, generally when you get to shoot them, you don't have very much time. You might only get 10 minutes max, and people want the client wants several different looks within that 10 minutes. So it means you have to absolutely motor through your poses and positions. So you've just got to burst off.
That's pressure right there, isn't it? That's pressure. That's pressure.
Yeah. 2 of them back to back. Yeah, 10 minutes a piece on those celebrities. That's all I had. Not much time, so you have to pull all the stops out and make that work. That's for sure. Okay, so cool process, nice. And then once you've done that, you then present digitally to the client, ready for album, or do you print a sample anyway?
So we present a digital version of their album using one of the software firms that I use, and so they see a digital version. So obviously, what I pre-design, they might want to make some changes, turn that with picture black and white, put that one back into color for me.
Yeah.
Can you swap number 35 for 36 so that they get a chance to change it?
Okay, gotcha.
And then once they've approved the layout, it then goes to print and they get a physical book. Yes.
Nice. Do you find now in weddings nowadays that the people still want the book?
Yeah. They have to have the book if they come to me. We don't just do digital only. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, printing something, again, coming from my lab background, is something I'm very passionate about because it's the only thing that's tangible after the wedding day. The cake's going to get eaten, the flowers are going to die, the dress will go up in a loft. The only thing that is, and I say it in my meetings, the only thing that will actually increase in value is the wedding album. Yeah. Because when people start to pass on and move away, that's the only thing that you've got left.
Yeah.
And it should be cherished. So if you come to my studio, you have to have a book. We'll sell you files. We'll give you files, of course. If you want them, of course you can.
But you've got
to have a book.
Yeah. I respect that a lot because at the end of the day, and for people who are listening, obviously they're probably in the image world of some sorts or in the industry of some sorts. But it's nice to have images digitally nowadays. But what's the point of having them on a disc or a drive that you never see? You've got to have them in print. That's when they come to life. Have that day in print. There's no point in having it if you've not got them printed.
Amen, brother.
Lovely, lovely. Now, a lot of people think running a wedding photography business sounds quite easy. At the end of the day, if we give it in simple man terms, it's like somebody's having a wedding. You meet with them, ask them what they want, and the wedding day comes. You get in there, snap away a few shots. He says lightheartedly, snap a few shots, go home, do a bit of tweaking, and then go ta-da! There's your images. But it's not quite that easy, is it? Really, not at all. No. What challenges do you face running a photographic business, and what do people need to be aware of how easy it's not?
Yeah, I always comparison running a wedding industry business to spinning plates. It's how many plates can you keep spinning at any one time. The general conception from general public is we work 1 day a week. And we earn good money for 1 day a week, to the point where I was at a wedding about 10 years ago, and the dad said, "So which holiday am I paying for this week then?" When I was there, I'm like, "Well, thank you, but you're not." So I reckon, as you know, photographers, we spend maybe 20% of our time behind the camera.
Yeah,
everything else is done on admin, marketing. I mean, I use a great CRM software. That does a lot of the admin side for me, so I haven't got to worry about it as much. But you've still got to put the details in. You've still got to go to wedding shows. You've still got to do in-person meetings. The pandemic's been difficult for that. It's been very, very hard. But we've still managed to sell weddings over Zoom. Nice. But I much prefer to get people in, and I only see people on 2 nights a week. I don't want to busy my week up and have every night when I'm seeing people. So I might see 2 or 3 couples, but it's only on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Yeah.
And because I want some work-life balance.
Yep, of course.
And that's what people don't get to see. Before I had the place here, I was on the road. I was driving about every night, going to see people because that's what we did. And
that's what
we did.
Yeah. It's not as easy as it sounds. There's a lot to running the business as well as being the business as well. Yeah. Being the creative talent, you've also got to run everything. You're 10 people in one at the end of the day.
Work on the business, not in the business. That's the best advice I can give you. So if you can afford to get your initial call sent out, then do that. If you've got a good CRM software, do that. If you can afford to take on someone to do the admin side, do that. Focus on the things you're good at and don't let everything overwhelm you, because it's very, very easy to become overwhelmed during this.
And I think the biggest bit of advice in anything there is structure. If you don't have a structure and a routine, as we said earlier off air, a routine, your business working life is going to be messy. And when that gets messy, things get confusing, and that's when things don't work out like you expected them to.
You need a list. You
don't have the organization.
But this is my list book. So I have lists of stuff that I tick off and write down. And it's just, if you without a list, I'd be all over the place. You have to have a list. And then, because if you have a list and you feel like you haven't achieved much, you go, oh crap, actually I've done quite a bit today. And it's good to reflect and see how busy, what you've actually achieved. Yeah,
I'm the same. I still have a book as well with stuff in it I have to do. Even in this digital world, I still have pen and paper, which is my daily list. Yeah.
It's my quill.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Anything else that you find challenging in the business side of things then?
I think I was rubbish at business fact. I was rubbish. I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to save for tax. I didn't know how to, I went back registered very quickly because I was very busy, and that was a massive shock. All of a sudden there's
all the extra work that goes with it.
Yeah, the accountant fees that come with that, and that was a massive learning curve, and I learned a lot quick. Now we set the business up in 2006, so the minute I went full time, we had the massive global recession. We've then the hangover from that and trying to navigate that. This COVID has been a massive learning curve about how to deal with things, and I think anyone that's coming out of this specific situation, the last year we've had, will be in a much stronger place from a business mindset than they ever thought they would have been without it. I think this has done a lot to help a lot of. Obviously, we've lost, unfortunately, a lot of businesses as well. But those that have survived, I think you will be stronger because of it. Yeah,
good advice. Definitely good advice. It's not all the fun stuff in our world that people think it is. And no, we don't only work one day a week.
I think people see us at trade shows and see us speaking for Fujifilm and suppliers and think that's a really awesome place, but what they don't see is the years of graft to get to that point, and the graft that we're still, yes, we're on stage speaking, yes, we're being flown around the world doing workshops, but we're still answering emails, we're still speaking to clients about invoices and late payments. We're still doing all of that. We're no different to anyone else.
That's right. Yeah. And then some of us decide to make podcasts in between as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. As if you're not busy enough.
Yeah, I know. Crazy times, but it's all good fun. That's what we love. If you're happy with it and you're happy with what you're doing, then that's the important thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in your time, in all the years you've been photographing and doing all these weddings, I mean, you must have had some really good, memorable moments over the years. Do you have one that just really sticks out in your mind that you can share with us? I mean, it can be a great one, a funny one, or a bad funny one, anything that you can reflect on.
Well, I've always told you about this time I split my trousers open. That was definitely a memorable moment. But the one thing that really sinks in with me was a couple of 3 years ago, and it was a bride that had not long had a baby. And again, from people that listen, that see us up on the stands and think we only shoot rock style weddings, that's just not true. I photograph normal people at normal venues. So this bride had just had not long had a baby, and she was very timid, very shy when she came up here. And typical, I don't like having my photograph taken. I get it all the time. I said, you'll be fine. Did the wedding, delivered the images, and then I got a note afterwards, and she said, I've been through the pictures. I can't believe it's me. I just want to thank you. You've given me some confidence back in how I feel about myself. And that was just the best thing ever.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And if we can empower our couples and our clients to make them feel better about themselves after the experience, then my job's done. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the notoriety we get from suppliers. If I can make people feel good about the images that I'm taking, my job's done.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to receive, and it definitely gives you a boost on the inside as well. That's the important thing.
It was amazing. It absolutely knocked me to pieces. It was just, at the time, it was not long after I was going to give it all up because we had a couple of bad experiences with clients. I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm just going to knock it on the head. And that note came at just the right time to think, no, sort yourself out, man. You've got this, and we plowed through.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that came through at the time that it was needed. It's the important thing. But remember, people, never give up, just
never.
I think
move forward.
You just may need to just change a few things around to change the direction a little bit. Almost getting near the end now. So outside of your wedding photography, your main core business, you also shoot a little bit of architecture as well.
I love it. Oh,
love it.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you love about it?
You know what? We walk past buildings every single day, and a lot of buildings we walk past are taken for granted. But there is, walking around London especially, I was in Shoreditch yesterday, there is some absolutely beautiful modern architectural buildings out there at the minute that people just walk past. And I like to photograph it. It's a bit of a passion project for me.
Nice.
If I've got the very rare time, non-COVID years where I've got nothing much on, I'll take a camera in London and just photograph some buildings. I just adore it. I like straight lines. I like horizontal lines. I like the modern staircases you'll see in buildings. I just love it. I just love the journey you can take through the image with architecture. It's beautiful.
Nice. Have you got any of those up, or is that just all tucked away in the archives?
No. I've got some on my personal Instagram account. That ticks on. Obviously, the wedding Instagram is just weddings, but My second Instagram account is just me when I'm out and about doing stuff. So there's plenty on there.
Okay.
I just love it. But I like street photography.
Yeah.
If I'm out and about, I'll shoot a bit of that. You know what, mate? People say to me, "Are you a wedding photographer?" And I will say, "Yes, I make my money from weddings, but I am a photographer that photographs weddings. I will photograph anything because I just love it."
Yeah. I'll have to have a look at that. So obviously we'll drop a link to that in the show notes. People can go and look at your architectural stuff as well.
That'd be lovely.
Now you've also got another little project as well, your Auschwitz project.
Yeah.
Tell us about
that was an
that.
accidental project. That was a project that didn't really, we went to the camp in 2017 and I was shooting a lot of film back then.
Okay.
And I'd recently got my fellowship in weddings and I never went there to shoot anything. I wanted to photograph it and I wanted to shoot film out of respect for the site. Because as we've mentioned before, you can go digital and take 25,000 pictures in 10 minutes. And I wanted to respect where we were. So I took a conscious decision to only photograph film, to methodically get the light meter out, change the EV number on the side of the Rolleiflex and shoot with purpose and shoot with intent.
Nice.
And I got the images back and I'm just like, I think I might have something here. And we laid the panel out and I got a fellowship in documentary photography from my Auschwitz work, which at the time was the first fellowship that was taken on film in 15 years.
Wow.
Because it was all digital and we did it in film. I speak about it. I do, one of my keynotes I give is on the project and about how we need, as you know, you shoot fashion, I shoot weddings, but we need that side project to kind of give us an out still.
Yeah. A bit of drive.
So those of you that are listening, don't forget about the reason why you picked up that camera in the first place. Don't let this hobby that you love turn into a career that you hate. Still have that hobby. Still go out and shoot with passion and purpose and then go back to the day job. And the Auschwitz project was an accident, but it was a beautiful accident.
Nice, man. Nice. And we can find those on your personal page again?
There's a couple on there again because they were shot on film.
Yeah.
They're not digitized. Ironically, I had to get the film scanned to get them printed because that's how it works. But then on the 75th anniversary, which was last January, it was the first time that I put a slideshow together of the images. So there is a slideshow that if people want, I'll put it on my IGTV on my personal account. Yeah. And I'll do that again because it's almost October the 20 is when it was liberated. So I'll post it up then.
Yeah, nice. I will look forward to seeing those as well then. Yeah, interesting to see it on film as well.
It was harrowing to do it. It was
shoot it on black and white?
It was black and white and colour. Yeah. So I had two cameras. I had a Rolleiflex 3.5T and a Roddy Telly F4 and I had colour and black and white in one and the other. And the panel was one colour shot on black and white, one colour. Nice. Because believe it or not, if those of you that haven't been, the place of Poland and where Auschwitz is beautiful. It's beautiful. And we went in October. And so all the leaves were turning, the sky was blue. It was the most stunning place, but it was obviously what happened was horrific. So I wanted to show the horror in black and white, but also the beauty in colour. Yeah,
nice juxtaposition. Yeah, beautiful. It's nice that the colours owed itself, of the place owed itself to colour.
And I think as well, you only ever see it in black and white. And I wanted to show you, and because the red of the bricks is a deep red. It's a very deep red, and I think everyone has to go and see it and witness it. It makes you reassess a lot of things when you go around that place.
Okay. And just out of interest, what film did you use for that?
I used Ilford. I had HP5.
Yeah. Quite contrasty.
I pushed 2 stops in camera, so I shot it at 1600 to give it a bit more grain, a bit more kind of contrast.
Yeah.
And then I used Fujifilm 400H and then Kodak Ektar for the color.
Okay. Nice. Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing some of those when it comes around again on your IGTV. That'd be cool. Okay, now, final question. So before we go, if you had to give a top tip to someone shooting a wedding, what would it be?
Perseverance. Perseverance, because there are times when you'll shoot weddings and you come back and you think nothing's clicked, but it has. Just move forwards. It's okay to fail. It's okay. Even Babe Ruth struck out, right?
Yeah, true.
But fail forwards each time. Fail better each time, because you'll come back in from a wedding day where you've done maybe 3 weddings in a row and you're exhausted. You feel like you haven't got, you're tired and you're not giving the amount of energy. but persevere through that, and you will be a better photographer. Just listen to your body, listen to what's going on, and just be more aware on the wedding day. And I promise you that the results will kind of be there for all to see.
Good top tip. Perseverance is the top tip of the day. I bet a lot of people listening to this are going, no, I wanted a top tip about my camera. What do I put my camera settings on?
I shoot on auto, mate. I
do?
I don't really.
I was waiting for that.
But in all seriousness, if you're shooting EVF, then make sure the histogram's in the bottom. If you've got an EVF, keep the histogram, because you can control your exposure much better that way. And then you'll find you'll be able to get more out of the file, especially like me, you're shooting JPEG. You've got to make sure you've got enough in the file. So always shoot with a histogram on. Yeah,
you don't want to be peaking on a JPEG, do you? That's for sure. Yeah,
no, not at all.
So there you go. There's the top technical tip. Yeah, make sure you got your histogram on. Unless you're shooting auto, of course. That's going to be useless.
My skin tone's so dark, but the sky's perfectly exposed.
Oh, my highlights, where are they? I've got no skin detail at all. No, I think that's a great series. I think that's a good double top tip. So one's an emotional top tip and perseverance, and the other one, histogram in your EVF if you're shooting on mirrorless. Always. Okay, well, before we do a segment close on this one, here's where we ask you to personally recommend 2 creatives from either the photographic or the video or moving image world to come onto Podlemania as a guest. And we ask you to get in touch with them and do an e-intro to us so that we don't get arrested for harassment, of course.
No problem. There's 2. There's one amazing portrait photographer in Dallas, Texas that I'll recommend. And there's also a guy in the UK who is probably the most talented wedding videographer I've ever worked with. So nice. I think that is a real skill in itself. So that for me video listeners, that is just I'll put some feelers out, definitely.
Beautiful. Well, we look forward to those e-intros for sure. And obviously once they come through, we will jump onto that and get those booked into the show, try and get them on. Just out of interest, what does the photographer in Texas shoot? Portraits?
Portrait. He does the most amazing family portraiture that is all flash work, but he'll build sets for it. He'll light every person specifically. It's just the guy who's called David Edmondson.
Guy. Yeah.
Fantastic. Good.
Know his work. Yeah. Father and son. So if we can get David on, that'll be amazing.
David and Luke, if they came on a podcast, it'll be about 4 hours. They can talk, but their knowledge, I've got 2 of my best mates in the States. They're brilliant. I love them to pieces.
It would be awesome to have them on. And I think, our listeners would love that as well. And especially considering our biggest audience for our podcast is actually in the US, which is bizarre. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, they're both amazing. Humble, great people. Just love it.
Perfect. Well, there you go, folks. You've heard that. Now that you've heard it on air, we're going to hold Scott to that one. Get him to sign in blood. Now, Scott, before we disappear, let's just tell the audience where they can find you. Where can they find you on social media?
Social media. So, as I said, we do have a Facebook, but I'm probably going to wrap that one up if I'm honest. So, Instagram is the best way. It's at the Edge Pics, Pics spelled Pics.
Yeah.
And then my personal one is at Scott Shoots Stuff.
Okay. Perfect. And your website is just
theedgephotography.co.uk.
Perfect. Anything else? We got your web, Instagram, we got your Facebook, anything, Twitter, YouTube? Not yet?
I'm on Twitter, but I'm only to complain about companies that have annoyed me. So probably not the best place to go find me on there.
That's a good use of Twitter.
And we're not yet on YouTube, but it's something that, again, once we start expanding the business next year, find us, we'll get a YouTube and a Vimeo up there, I think, for sure, but not yet.
Beautiful. I think that's awesome. So there you go. Well, all these links will be in the show notes anyway for people to see when it comes out, which would be cool. For our listeners, if you would like to help support us to produce and record even more great interviews with some of the world's greatest creative talents, your support and donations are very much appreciated. And for those that don't know, you can find our donate button on our website at podlemania.com/donate. And if you like this episode and you don't want to miss out on new episodes, then please make sure you subscribe to us on your chosen podcast player, or you can subscribe to us on podlemania.com/subscribe. And remember, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes Store, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon, Google Podcasts, and about 30 other podcast players. But please remember to give us a like, Don't forget to subscribe, and on Apple Podcasts, which is the main one, please leave us a comment because it does help us in the ranking. But apart from that, I think that's this episode wrapped up, and I'd just like to thank Scott for joining us and give him a huge thanks for being a very fun guest on the show today. I hope you enjoyed the rapid fire round. But Scott, just want to say thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me, mate. It's been, like I say, it's been a long time coming, but it's an absolute pleasure to come on and do it for you.
Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. And to all our listeners, thanks for listening to the show. And we look forward to catching up with you all in the next episode. But until then, take care and look after yourselves. Okay. Bye.